There is a question asked in clinics across Indonesia almost every single day. It is whispered in examination rooms and debated late at night on social media. Does masturbation damage the kidneys or lead to permanent infertility? The answer is clear, but the story behind the fear is what matters most. Because the real health issue is not the act itself, but the story we tell about it. Let's start with the kidneys, because this myth is perhaps the most persistent one. There is no anatomical or physiological connection between self-stimulation and kidney function. Your kidneys filter blood and produce urine located deep in your lower back. The reproductive system and the urinary system are neighbors, but they are separate highways. The confusion in many cultures comes from the shared sensation of lower body fatigue. After orgasm, the body releases prolactin and oxytocin, which create deep relaxation. That heaviness or sleepiness is a nervous system shift, not an organ failure. If you feel a dull ache in your lower back, it is almost always muscle tension. It is the same tension you would get from sitting at a desk for too long. Medically speaking, routine masturbation has zero impact on your creatinine levels or kidney health. Now we must address the second and much heavier fear regarding fertility and sperm count. The body is a remarkable factory designed for continuous production and renewal. The testes manufacture millions of new sperm cells every single day, without exception. It is a biological assembly line that does not have an off switch for self-pleasure. In fact, regular ejaculation, whether through sex or masturbation, helps clear out older sperm. This turnover maintains the genetic quality and motility of the sperm stored in the epididymis. Studies in reproductive urology confirm that sperm count dips very slightly for a few hours, but that dip is clinically insignificant and returns to full baseline within 24 hours. To cause infertility, you would need to stop sperm production entirely, which masturbation cannot do. Only severe malnutrition, chemotherapy, or a physical blockage can cause true male infertility. So, where did these powerful myths originate in our society, and why do they persist? Historically, the fear was a tool for social and moral control over young bodies. Ancient texts sometimes warned of losing vital essence or weakening the spinal marrow. These were pre-scientific explanations for the natural fatigue that follows any physical release. But when science looks at the data, we see a very different story about health. We see that sexual release is associated with lower blood pressure and improved sleep quality. We see that it reduces stress by lowering cortisol, which is the body's primary enemy. We see that it is a normal part of human development from adolescence through late adulthood. It is a standard and expected behavior reported by over 90% of adult men. It is not a sign of weakness or a disease that requires a herbal remedy. However, there is a line where a normal habit crosses over into problematic territory. This is where we shift from the myth of organ damage to the reality of compulsion. Masturbation becomes unhealthy not when it affects the kidneys, but when it affects your life. It becomes a concern if you are canceling work or skipping family obligations to do it. It becomes a concern if you cannot fall asleep without it as a mandatory ritual. It becomes a concern if you are causing physical injury through friction or excessive force. The skin of the genitals is sensitive and can be damaged by aggressive or dry technique. This is a localized skin issue akin to a blister, not a deep metabolic crisis. The other modern health concern is the type of content you are using to stimulate. If your brain is trained to require increasingly extreme or violent visual material to respond, you are not damaging your sperm, but you may be rewiring your brain's arousal template. This can lead to performance anxiety and difficulty connecting with a real-life partner later. This is a psychological and relational health issue, not a urological or fertility one. We must separate the healthy exploration of self from the trap of digital dependency. For the teenagers watching this or the parents who are worried about their children, your body is not broken and you have not ruined your future ability to have a family. The more you understand the science, the less power these cultural myths have over you. It is also vital to address the specific context of Indonesian health and traditional beliefs. You may have heard terms like weakness of the knees or drying up of the bone marrow. These are metaphors for energy depletion, not literal medical diagnoses that require a scan. If you are feeling weak, it is far more likely due to lack of sleep or iron deficiency. The body does not have a finite tank of life force that can be drained by touch. It is a dynamic system that constantly regenerates and adapts to the demands placed upon it. Hydration is actually more relevant to this conversation than the act of masturbation itself. Drinking water supports kidney function and helps the body recover from any physical activity. So, if you are feeling tired, drink a glass of water and get some rest. Your body knows exactly how to restore the balance of hormones and fluids by morning. Let's also dismantle the specific fear about masturbation causing prostate issues or cancer. Large-scale epidemiological studies actually suggest the opposite effect for prostate health. Frequent ejaculation in adulthood has been linked to a lower risk of prostate cancer diagnosis. This is not a license to overdo it, but a reassurance that the body is designed for this. We need to move the conversation from shame and fear to education and self-awareness. If you are a young adult wondering if you are normal, the answer is almost certainly yes. If you are an adult worried about your marriage because of this habit, communication is key. Sometimes the problem is not the act, but the secrecy and guilt that surrounds it. Guilt releases stress hormones that are far more damaging to your body than the act itself. Cortisol from constant anxiety will actually suppress your immune system and disrupt sleep. That is the hidden irony of this myth, and the fear makes you physically unwell, not the normal biological function you are trying so hard to control or stop. We must be careful, however, not to swing the pendulum too far into blind promotion. If you feel your behavior is compulsive and you want to regain a sense of control, there are behavioral strategies that focus on distraction and building new daily routines. You do not need expensive detox teas or mysterious kidney cleansing herbs from the market. You need a new hobby that occupies your hands and your mind during idle time. You need to focus on getting high-quality sleep and moving your body for exercise. Physical fatigue from a real workout often helps regulate the nervous system naturally. This is a far more effective approach than trying to use willpower to fight biology. Biology will almost always win that battle in the long run of human health. To summarize for everyone listening, whether you are 15 or 50 years old today, myth number 1, masturbation damages the kidneys, is false, based on all medical evidence. Myth number 2, masturbation causes permanent infertility, is false, based on reproductive physiology. Fact number 1, it is a normal, safe, and common behavior for both men and women. Fact number 2, it only becomes a problem when it interferes with daily functioning. Fact number 3, the exhaustion you feel is a nervous system response, not organ failure. You have the right to understand your own body without shame or outdated superstition. This is what modern sexual education for teens and adults should actually sound like. It is calm, it is based on anatomy, and it respects your intelligence as a human being. Your body is resilient, and it is waiting for you to treat it with knowledge, not with the fear that someone else planted in your mind many years ago. If you want to understand more about how sleep actually regulates your testosterone levels, I broke down the exact science in the video on screen right now. Take a look.